السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. رب زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين آمين يا رب العالمين. So inshallah today we are going to continue from Surah Yousef inshallah from ayah number 19 to ayah number 22. And we're just going to start first with the recitation of these verses, and then inshallah we can move on to the analysis of the Tajweed rules. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وجاءت سيارة فأرسلوا واردهم فأدلى دلوه قال يا بشرى هذا غلام وأسروه بضاعة والله عليم بما يعملون وشروه بثمن بخس دراهم معدودة وكانوا فيه من الزاهدين وقال الذي اشتراه من مصر لامرأته أكرمي مثواه عسى أن ينفعنا أو نتخذه ولدا وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض ولنعلمه من تأويل الأحاديث والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون ولما بلغ أشده آتيناه حكما وعلما وكذلك نجزي المحسنين. So inshallah, now let's look at some of the tajweed rules for this lesson starting from ayah number 19. وَجَاءَت, here this is a 4-count med. We see that there is that squiggly line on top of the alif. This signifies that we're going to pull this for 4 counts. And really quickly, as we are doing the med, we are going to have to switch the makhraj from the jawf to the halq. So we're switching from the med, which is coming from the empty space in the mouth, and then we're quickly going to switch to the throat. So you're going to hear the hamza has a little bit of that sharp sound. وَجَاءَت. So you can hear I'm quickly switching and giving hamza a little bit more emphasis, a little bit more power to make sure that we're not merging these together. So a lot of the times when people are reading this word, they read wajat. Now you don't hear that hamza very clearly, so make sure you do give it a little bit more emphasis. Wajat. So make sure you do say it from the throat, give it a little bit of sharpness to make sure that it's audible. Sayyaratun, ra here is going to be heavy. And then here we have the tanween, sayyaratun fa, this is going to be ikhfa. فَأَرْسَلُوا, ra here is heavy. وَارِدَهُمْ, ra in this case is light. Mim is a letter of tawassut, it has sukoon, so we're just going to rest on that for a little bit. فَأَدَلَا, dal is going to have qalqala, so make sure you give it a little bit of bounce. Dalwa, lam, we're going to rest on this because it has sukoon. And then ha, because I'm stopping here, I'm going to make sure I give it a little bit of air. If we don't give it enough air, or hams as it's called, the ha can be dropped. So we can read it as dalwa. Now you don't hear that ha at all. So in order to avoid that ha being dropped, to avoid that sukoon being dropped, I'm going to give it a little bit more air, and this air is going to come closer to the chest. Dalwa, kind of like a sigh. So make sure that if you are stopping here, as I did, you are giving it a little bit of air. Otherwise, what can happen is that you could drop the letter. So we don't want to do that. Just give it a little bit more air coming from the chest. Dalwa. Qala ya bushra. Qaf here is going to be heavy. Ya is a 2 count. Bushra, ra again is 2 counts. And this is going to be a heavy ra. Hadha, ha is heavy, tha is heavy. And then here, غُلَامٌ وَأَصَرُّ, this is going to be idgham. And then ghain here is heavy. وَأَسَرُّهُ, ra is heavy in this case. بِضَاعَةً, Dad is heavy. And here I stopped. And if you are stopping, then you can turn this into a ha. From the ta marbuta, you turn it into a ha with a sukun. But again, as we did in the previous verse, the previous line, then we are going to have to give it a little bit more air from the chest. Bida'ah. So make sure you are giving it some air so that we're not dropping this. If you are continuing, you can just go ahead and say it with the tanween, merge it together with idgham in the waw, bida'atan wa, and then if you're stopping, just make sure you give it some air. Wallahu, Allah here is heavy. Alimun, ayn is going to be from the middle of the throat. So you're going to feel a little bit of strangulation when you say this letter. Alimum bima, this is going to be iqlab. So we're merging this together with the letter mim and we're switching that to a mim. And we know that because we see a very small mim on top of this tanween. Bima ya'malun, ayn again is going to be from the middle of the throat. Give it a little bit of that strangulation sound. Ya'malun, and then we end here on a 4-count mad. وَشَرَوْهُ, ra here is heavy. بِثَمَنٍ ba, this is going to be iqlab. بَخْسٍ, kha is heavy. بَخْسٍ da, this is ikhfa. ضَرَاهِم, the ra is heavy. مَعْدُودَةٍ wa, this is going to be idgham. And then here in ma', ayn is going to have tawassut, so make sure that you do say it from the middle of the throat. Roll it around in the throat just a little bit because it has sukoon. مَعْدُودَةٍ وَكَانُوا فِيهِ مِنَ الزَّاهِدِينَ. And then here we have a 4-count mad at the end of the ayah. وَقَالَ الَّذِي اشْتَرَاهُ, qaf is going to be heavy. Ra in this case is heavy. Mim misra, mim is light. Sad is heavy and ra is heavy. So make sure you quickly make that switch. Misra, mi, and then sad is heavy. Mis, and then ra is heavy. Ra, misra. So quickly make that switch. Limra'atihi, ra in this case is heavy. And this is a 4-count mad. You see that tiny ya, and then on top of that there is that sign of mad. So pull this for 4 counts. Akrimi, ra is light. Mathwahu, asa, this is going to be a 4-count mad. An yanfa'ana, anya, this is idgham, and then fa'ana, this is a 4-count mad. أو نتخذه ولدا, and then here this is going to be a 2-count mad al-iwad if you stop, as I did. If you are continuing, you can read it with idgham, waladan wa kadhalik, but because I stopped, I made this a 2-count. Walada, just pull that for 2 counts and then you can stop there. وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, ra is heavy, dad is heavy. وَلِنُعَلِّمَهُ مِن ta, this is going to be ikhfa. Ta'wil, hamza is going to have a sharp jerking sound, so make sure that you are giving it a little bit of that jerk. Ta'wilil ahadith, ha is going to be from the middle of the throat, so make sure that you are reading this with a little bit of warm air coming out as you recite. Wallahu, name of Allah here is heavy. Ghalibun, ghain is going to be heavy. Ghalibun ala, this is idhar. Ala is a 4-count mad. Amrihi, ra here is light. Walakinna akthara, ra is going to be heavy. Aktharan nas, la ya'lamun, ayn here is going to be from the middle of the throat, and then we end here on a 4-count mad. Walamma balagha, ghain is going to be heavy. Ashuddahu, this is going to be a 4-count mad. We see that there is that small waw, and on top of that there is that sign of mad. So we're going to pull this like we would for a normal 4-count mad. Ataynahu hukman wa, this is going to be idgham. Wa ilma, because I'm stopping here, I'm going to pull this for 2 counts. If you are continuing, you can read it with idgham. Wa ilman wa kadhalik, but because I stopped, I will just say hukman wa ilma, and then just stop there for 2 counts. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي, Jim is going to have qalqala. نَجْزِل muhsinin, and then ha is going to be from the middle of the throat. So I'm going to make sure to give it a little bit of that warm air as this letter comes out of the throat. Muhsinin, and then we're going to end here on a 4-count mad. So inshallah, that is our lesson for today, starting from ayah number 19 to ayah number 22. Inshallah, we'll stop here. Jazakallahu khairan kathiran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.